Now from Atlanta News First Plus, this is Sports Tonight.
What's up, everyone? Emily Gagnon here with Miss Ellie Parker. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I mean, I keep thinking today's Monday, but it's Tuesday, so forgive me if I say Monday, but it is Tuesday, January the 2nd. Many of you might have been up last night watching some college football, very late games.
Ended at like 1 in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, but both games did not disappoint, other than if you are an Alabama fan and a Texas fan. I did think both of those teams were going to win. I also wanted to see a rematch between the two in the national championship. I don't know how many others wanted that, but I did. I wanted
that would have been insufferable if that happened.
It would have been great. You know what? I think Saban would have rode off in the sunset. And now I think, you know what? He's coming back for another season. I'm like, this man wants to go out on top. He's going to go out on top no matter what. But he's just such a competitor. And competitors don't leave until they have the last word. And last night, that last play, I hated it. I hated it. And this had nothing to do with, I'm not an Alabama fan. I thought Alabama was going to win. Michigan played a heck of a game. Michigan's defense, whew, yes, you looked great.
Michigan's defense bailed out Michigan's offense, and especially their special teams, which made
their
multiple
defense
mistakes.
Looked so good. And Milroe looked not good, and the offensive line even worse. So it was disappointing to see that you were just going to, and like, I'm not somebody who really criticizes play calling. I just don't. Whatever the play call is, it is. But that play call specifically, on 4th and goal, you just hand it to him. And when I say hand it to him, you know, you 1, 2, 3 hike. And then it was a low snap, which had been a problem all game. And he just runs up the middle. And it was so apparent to everyone. And again, when you're in the game, it's very different. It was so apparent that he was going to get stopped short. I mean, there was no way that he was going to make it in the end zone, Ellie.
None. But also, I'm not a college football head coach, so.
Yeah, no, I mean 100%. And I don't think Saban's calling those plays. He's not an offensive guy. He's giving that to the offensive coordinator. But if I had to pick who had the uglier game as far as unit-wise, I would say the offensive line. Yeah. I wouldn't even say Jalen Milroe. I would say the offensive line did not do their job last night. And that's why Alabama is out. You know, 1 game shy of the national championship.
But we'll get to that. We'll get to Michigan, Washington, and our picks and all of that first.
I know. I'm having a rant right now. I apologize. Let's get started with the Hawks.
Oh boy, this team.
13 and 19.
What this team wouldn't have given to be 13 and 9 at one point.
I know. 13 and 19 under Quinn Snyder's first full season as head coach. They're looking for more consistency and more wins in 2024. I'm looking for that too, Ellie. Your assessment?
Got some sound from.
We attended practice this morning.
Got some sound from Quinn Snyder and several players. They're going to face the Thunder tomorrow. Thunder are 22 and 9.
Thunder look good, and they're young, and they're improved, and all the things.
22 and 9. So the Hawks definitely have quite the game ahead of them tomorrow. So we'll listen in and see what they have to say.
Realistic and recognize where we can be better. And sometimes if you flush that, so to speak, it doesn't give you that opportunity. And, you know, conversely, we want to do everything better. You know, I don't think this isn't, you know, I want to eat better, or I want to get more sleep, or, you know, I want to be better. And that means individually and collectively.
Trey's been at the top of points per possession in terms of being the pick and roll man or ball handler. I'm curious, where do you see him taking that next step as far as improvement? He's mentioned turning over the ball a little bit less. Just how does he do that, and does that start with the communication?
I think communication is a buzzword.
Yeah.
You know, if I could go back and answer that question, that would be something that I really feel needs to be a focus for us. Oftentimes, I'll get back to more specifically, you know, if you're trying to communicate, if there's a language that you don't know or speak, it's difficult to, you know, to talk.
Right.
So hopefully that's something, as we become more and more trained in our habits, we know where we're supposed to be, what we want to accomplish, that begets more communication. I think in Trey's case, managing a game is, those are the situations where he's able to communicate, and that's collectively, us understanding, and I'm not just talking about late in the game, throughout the game. I think something that you're seeing him do more and more of, and with respect to things like turnovers, there's a fine line there because he's able to make plays, and just being able to understand time, score, situation, and when is a play along that continuum worth it, and then what are the things that allow you, he's so good, moving people with his eyes. He's so good with ball fakes. And, can he keep his feet on the floor and play in the lane more? There's lots of little things that he's talked about. As you look at kind of what you want to accomplish as a goal, I think it's important to see the things that lead up to that help you accomplish the goal. And, that's really where our focus is as a group as well. He happens to have the ball a lot.
Yeah.
So with that, that great freedom, because we do want him to be who he is, and comes responsibility.
What's the biggest challenge facing this Oklahoma City team?
There's a lot of things that they do well. Obviously, you can see that reflected in the way that they're playing. They play a lot of small actions where, they create shots by creating indecision and then driving the ball. So I think, Holmgren spacing the floor pulls you out away from the basket oftentimes. So we've got to be better generally in containing the ball, and they're a team that puts a lot of pressure on you to do that. So starts with transition, and then even in the half court, us being shifted, shrinking the floor, so to speak, and not allowing them to see lanes to the basket, and then just guard your man, one-on-one, guard your yard, stay in front. So that we can, if you are beat, because those things happen, you're not beat in a straight line where we can actually help each other.
It's well documented they're the second youngest team in the NBA, but do they look like that on the court? Is that a credit to the coaching of what they got developing?
I think youth is, in this day, you see so many players that early in the league, they feel like they belong. It's not just that they look it, there's a level of confidence that, younger players have now that kind of transcends age. I think over the course of their career, there's other things experientially that where they grow, but I don't think of them, ironically, as such a young team. I think, SGA, as an example, oftentimes when, a guy that's a catalyst for you plays with the poise and experience that kind of lifts everybody and connects everybody. But they've got an identity, they defend the ball, they help each other, and they drive the ball. And, I think that's something that Mark's developed, in those guys over time, and they've bought into, and you can see it reflect on the court.
How do you assess the growing connection that seems to be between Trey and Jalen? They just seem to be connecting really well on the court as well.
Yeah, I think Trey's been with us for, a much longer period of time than JJ, and even Jalen, it's been good to see, even though he missed, a big chunk of time, that, he's his feel for the game. He's someone that's easy to play with. And, he and Trey together, they're both good passers, and they're both unselfish, and they'll continue to get more connected. I think as they play more together, whether it's a two-man game or, in transition, you see Jalen pushing the ball and, Trey running the lane, where someone else is getting him something easy as opposed to him having the ball all the time in transition. He wants that. JJ wants that, and those are kind of those interactions. I think they'll continue to improve.
Trey also talked about Jalen's confidence growing and just not hesitating to pull the trigger and whatnot, but he still sees there's like a little bit of untapped potential. Do you see that as well?
Yeah, I think, you know, Jalen, I don't know, he hasn't played like heavy minutes in his career, so now that he's playing more, sometimes being comfortable, particularly in catch and shoot situations, is something that you just, you know, through repetition, you begin. It's less about confidence than it is about familiarity with those situations and being prepared to shoot, because that's what we want him to do. So him, you know, not hesitating, and that's something that I think he's done a really good job of.
I'm not the type to like hold on to any hate. I think what we went through in 2023 is going to help us be better in 2024. So although there's some moments that I wish we could do over and wish we could be better at, I think what we went through in 2023 is going to help us be where we need to be this year.
How would you describe the growth in your chemistry with Jalen on the court, especially coming back from his injury? Because it seems like you guys have just been connecting really well.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen's a smart player, so it's really easy to connect with him. Just the way he plays, he's very unselfish when he gets the ball, looking for others, and sometimes you got to be on him to be more aggressive and use his talents and his athleticism more. And but I mean, he makes it easier for all of us. I mean, he's, like I said, a smart player. It's just more about getting more reps for him, so he can feel more comfortable when he's out there. And I mean, even though he looks comfortable now, he can. I mean, there's so much more potential he can show. So I'm looking forward to continuing to grow with him.
Where do you want to see him grow the most going into 2024 now? Because you mentioned that you said, you know, you're pushing him, but he has more potential to tap into.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just he'll know where his spots are. He'll know where his shots are going to be. And I think just knowing, I mean, picking, popping, just shooting just with confidence, not hesitating, not thinking about it. I think that just comes with more reps and more shots in game-like situations. So I think that's going to come, and that's what I want to see from him. And he already does it. It's just seeing more from him, and that's just, like I said, it comes with more reps.
What does it mean to you to play a team in your home state?
It means a lot. But at the same time, it's just another game. Obviously, I know a lot about the Thunder's history and just being around the city and things like that. But it's another game. It's a long season. I mean, a lot of these teams are really, really good that we've been playing, and so you can't really look too far ahead or look behind too far. So like I said, the Thunder is really a good team, so we gotta be ready.
What are the challenges with playing the Thunder? What they have right now, such a young team.
I mean, they're a young team, but not every young team knows their roles the way they do. I think that's the challenge when you have young teams is guys coming in wanting to prove themselves, and rightfully so, wanting to prove themselves and make their mark in this league. And you don't find too many teams like the Thunder who, I mean, if you look at their team, not too many of them, if any, really don't know their roles and what they bring to the team. So, I mean, from Lou Dort to, I mean, we all know that Shea and Chet are the head of the Snakes, and I mean, Josh, plays his role really well. Jalen, both of Jalen's do. So, I mean, they have a really good team and a young team, like you said, but they play their roles, and that's why they're successful.
You seem to be a glass half full guy, always looking forward. How's morale with this team right now for the 2024 stretch?
I mean, the morale's good. I mean, yeah, we definitely. I'm the type of guy to look at things half full. So I think what we've been doing here recently, I think ending the year off the right way was important. We talked about it in the locker room. It's important to end the year the right way, and it's also important to start the year the right way. So I think that's the good thing about our team is that we definitely are talking about these type of things.
Trade rumors are always around since you've been in the league with your teammates. You always have to deal with that. When you hear guys like DeJounte always getting thrown out there, in those team meetings, you discuss that? We got to just be part of this collective group now, or are there conversations just to ignore the outside noise?
Oh, yeah, we ignore people like you and the outside noise. So this type of thing, we just focus on what we got to focus on, and we'll be good.
Appreciate it.
Trey, you're above at the top of the list in terms of points per possession in the pick and roll as a ball handler. What do you want to continue improving on in that, and your partnership with Clint, Onyeka, and all of these guys like Jalen too?
I want to continue to be better. I was doing a really good job early on taking care of the ball. I think here recently I've gotten a little bit more turnovers here than I feel like I should have, and for me that's where I can be better for my teammates and just making sure we get a shot up. And sometimes I'm trying to get them the ball, and sometimes it's a turnover, and sometimes I'll live with it. But there's a few turnovers here and there that these last few games I feel like I can be better at, and that'll help our bigs too. Just getting them the ball, making sure they have a touch, and So that's where I can be better for them.
One thing I want to flush, the losses. Lead those in 2023. So we're looking forward to 2024. Get some more wins. Let's keep doing that in the new year.
What's that going to take?
Just keep playing together. I think we kind of showed it in Washington. We started off the game slow, but we gathered and rallied behind one another, and we were able to make a comeback. So I think we just need to keep doing that consistently, and I think sky's the limit.
You guys have a big home stretch coming up, or a couple of them, after spending a lot of last year on the road. Just how do you guys hope to take care of home court and get some wins there?
Yeah, I think home court is huge, especially coming into the new year. We didn't have the best record at home to start the season, so just like I said, looking to flush that and start the new year off the right way.
How do you feel like your connection with Trey has grown on the court since just being back out there? Because it seems like you guys have picked up a good bit.
Yeah, no, it's grown tremendously, actually. Just, we talk a lot. Our coaches do a great job watching film with us, so just understanding each other, our tendencies, and how we play together, it's been easy, especially playing with someone like Trey, who's a willing passer, and a willing scorer. So the defense really has to pick their poison, so I'm just trying to, make myself available with them.
Where do you feel like you could grow a little bit more on the court? When I was talking to Trey, he's like, your confidence is growing, you're pulling the trigger more, but he still sees like a little bit of untapped potential that you can take this to a whole other level.
Yeah, it's just time. I just got to keep playing. Like I said, the confidence is growing. That's a great thing. So I just got to keep playing my game, having the trust from my teammates and coaches. That's helping the confidence. So I know they got the trust in me, so it's just going to only get better from here.
Where was your confidence before the Wizards game than after?
You said before the Wizards?
Yeah.
My confidence was still up. I was just excited to be back, honestly. It was a long time out, it felt like. So the confidence has been up, so just got to keep going with it.
When we see Oklahoma City, what stands out?
They got a lot of young talent. They're good. They got a great defensive anchor with Chet protecting the rim, and then you got the head of the snake with Shea. So they got great pieces around them too. Jalen Williams. There's a lot of good teams, or got a lot of good players. So we just gotta come out right away and match the energy.
They have a lot of length and size, as you mentioned with Chet and the two Jalen's. Just how do you guys play big to kind of give them the best competition, or what's the word I'm looking for?
You said how do we play big?
Yeah, contest the shots.
I mean, other than Chet, they're not really the biggest team, because Jalen he plays at the 4, so I think it's more about getting back on defense, the transition game, being able to contain closeouts, because they're all quick and shifty. So I think that's probably the biggest key to that game, as far as that.
Trey's obviously a great passer. He does some things to try to keep the defense off balance. Does he ever catch you as sort of the pass receiver off balance?
All the time, but it's like you got to be there though, because he's that great of a passer. He sees it. If you don't think he sees it, he sees it. So just kind of staying ready and staying in areas where he has that vision of you. He's thrown me off like in my earlier years. He threw me off a couple times, but then the more we play together, the easier.
Jalen Johnson there with the Hawks, back from injury. He was out there for a while, but he's back and giving this team a spark, a much-needed spark. Him and Trae Young have a decent, relationship as far as they have a good connection on the court. So it's good. It's good to have him back. JJ, you said it before. We heard from the Hawks that they're playing OKC tomorrow. OKC significantly improved this season. Young team, young roster. The Hawks are
Chet
coming off of a win.
Holmgren doing far better than I thought he would. That man is a stick. That man is a twig. And okay, far be it for me to. I'm not gonna knock him, but he's doing things that I didn't think someone with his frame could do. So he's proving me wrong in terms of people like him and, people with his frame and that sort of, freak of nature type athleticism.
Yeah, you gotta love to see it, right?
I absolutely love to see it. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. But they're coming. The Hawks are coming into this one with a win. And they haven't really been able to put a win streak together yet this season. Still a lot of basketball to be played, but right now coming in after a win, and then they're hoping to tomorrow night Keep it rolling.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
Let's move
So
on
it's
from
Michigan,
hoops
Washington then.
and talk about college football.
Did you stay up to watch the end of this game?
I did. I really thought Sark was going to pull something out of his tricks.
Yeah.
His bag of tricks as far as offensive mastermind trickery. At the
It
very
definitely
end.
seemed like towards the end there was like, oh, here we go.
Momentum was going to the Longhorns' side. However, they did not pull it off. 27-20. Funny enough, last year they played in the bowl game against each other, and Washington also beat them last year by 7 points. But I think the biggest story is Michael Penix Jr.
430 passing yards.
for Washington.
Has this
The
man
runner-up.
played himself into a top 10 pick?
He might
with
have.
this
As a matter
game?
of fact, I've read a lot of articles today saying if the Falcons don't go after this guy, then they don't know what the Falcons are doing, and I never know what the Falcons are doing. But the fact that he's being
This man comes to
mentioned-
Atlanta,
yeah, he'd be loved.
he would be. It would be so
Embraced.
exciting to watch.
Yeah.
It really would.
But yeah, you got to remember he was the runner-up as far as the Heisman Trophy's concerned. He's done really great things all season. 29 of 38, you said at 430 yards.
Two
Oh,
touchdowns.
I said 37-30 or 20. I don't even.
37-31 was the final.
37-31 was the final.
At like 1 a.m. Eastern. Oh my God. I also stayed up to watch the end of the game. I was actually working out when the game ended.
Really?
Yeah, I was working. I was running on a
Did
treadmill.
it make you like run faster as you were watching in
No,
excitement?
one would have hoped, but unfortunately not.
I mean, that was. Were you
That
cheering
was a very-
for,
that
for
was-
one of the? Did you want one of the teams to win? Did you have a feeling?
As a Missouri fan, I am legally obligated to hate the Texas Longhorns
Okay.
in everything that they do,
Yep.
except for when they play Kansas. So I definitely wanted Washington to win.
Okay.
So, and I definitely kind of want Washington to win it all, just because like Washington winning it all is a better story than Michigan winning it all.
Well, I do also wonder. Do you think the ratings for this game are going to be as high as they have in years past, given that there isn't an SEC team playing?
I think that's actually going to drive interest.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's going to drive interest in, two teams we, for whatever reason, don't normally see in the final, actually playing in the final. So, and especially since you might get all the SEC haters actually watching the game for once.
It's weird because, I'm not really interested. I'm like.
As a college football fan, I'm incredibly interested.
You
I
are?
will be tuning in. Yes.
I just feel like I'm not, but, that's me. But I will say both teams remain undefeated. Mm-hmm. So you got to wonder,
So it's a 1v2. We'll get, an undefeated champion.
Yeah. You love to see that because then you really feel like it was meant to be the whole time.
And there's a bit of a poetic nature to it, given this is the last of the 14 college football playoffs.
Yep.
The very first was Ohio State, Oregon. These two teams' biggest rivals. So a little bit of a, and all four of those schools next year are going to be in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit of a intra-conference
Intra.
intra-conference matchup before next year.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm looking forward to next Monday. I don't know how much I'll watch. I know you will, and we'll be able to talk about it then. But I know you want to talk about Mizzou, and we're almost running out of time. So
Woo! Let's go!
There we go.
I wanted to
I
talk
knew
about
you
this
were
so
holding that
much.
in. Yeah, let's do it.
I am a Missouri Tigers fan. I went to Mizzou, and oh my God, they beat Ohio State.
Get
If
it.
you had told me after the Kansas State game earlier in the season that they would not only be in a near Six Bowl, but win against Ohio State, I would have laughed you out of the room.
Really?
I
But you
didn't.
love them. I would have never
I
guessed
did not
it.
see a 10-win season coming. To put it that way.
Well,
Oh my God.
so this is the reaction from most Mizzou fans this year?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Are we normally in this position? No.
Okay.
This is a dream. Give Eli Drinkowitz all the money. Lock him
All the
down.
money? Okay. Do you feel like he'll want to leave, or do you think Mizzou is his house?
I want Mizzou to be his. I want a statue of this man in 30 years.
Man, he hasn't
That's-
taken you guys. This is it. This is it for you, Ellie. Statue already.
I'm not saying statue already. I'm saying I want him to stay for 30 years.
Okay.
And that is reason enough to build a statue. Gary Pinkel stayed for 15, and we already built him a statue.
Okay.
Because Gary Pinkel got us within 2 de facto national semifinals
Yes.
into 2 SEC championship games.
Okay.
Eli Drinkwitz can get this team into the playoff. I'm genuinely convinced of that, especially with the 12-team expansion.
Let me ask you, how many players do y'all lose? I don't know this, so you're going to have to tell me.
They're losing Cody Schrader.
Okay.
They're losing Ennis Schrakestraw. They're almost certainly losing Luther Burton III. So they're losing a lot of pieces, but they're beginning to get a lot of transfer pieces. They're beginning to get the good recruits. They're beginning to get guys who, before
So you guys have
Drinkwitz-
some good NIL deals going on over there.
yes,
Okay.
before all of this, before NIL, before Drinkwitz, they might not have gotten. So I'm very excited for this program's future.
That's the positive NIL. We sometimes don't say good things about NIL, but that is the positive, is that a program like Mizzou and the SEC, best conference in college football, is able to compete, given the circumstances.
All right.
Georgia. Let's do it, dogs.
Brooks Austin.
I'm not as excited as Ellie just was, but
Brooks Austin, Dogs Insider, said on Twitter that he received word that the Dogs wanted to quote unquote embarrass FSU, and they certainly did that.
Yeah, that was a success. 63-3, 60-point difference between the two. FSU never got in the end zone. Listen, I do have something to say about this in the sense that I knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
Georgia had a chip on their shoulder. They thought they were one of the best 4 teams in the country. The committee disagreed. Committee left them on the outside looking in, just like FSU, who also entered the game thinking that they too should have been in the top 4. They probably had a better case than the Dogs, being undefeated, but they had a trizillion opt-outs. Georgia likes to say they had none, even though Brock Bowers and Marius Mims didn't play. They were injured, however, so I guess you could not go. You could say they weren't opt-outs, Ellie, because they were injured. But FSU's players weren't injured, and they decided not to play. And here's my beef with this, and this is what I want to say here today. If I were FSU and if I were Coach Norvell, I would have found a way to convince those players to play. So the committee,
One would have hoped, yeah.
so the committee could have looked bad. And I wish he could have inspired them and said, listen, guys, I know that the NFL is your future. You don't want to get injured in this game. It's a game that, quote unquote, doesn't matter. But let's give it to the committee. Let's hand it to the committee. Let's tell the committee that we're the best team, blah, 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 by beating the team that was number 1 for however many weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have been perfect to see UGA and FSU at their best in that game. And it's just unfortunate that we didn't get to see it because players, felt like the game didn't matter. And it maybe, in the grand scheme of things, it didn't. But UGA went out there and played. They dropped 63 on them. What are we doing? FSU should have tried.
Yeah.
Coach Norvell should have tried and convinced his players to play, because beating Georgia would have sent a very big message, not just to the committee, but to all of college football.
All right, real quick, what's on your mind?
What's on yours? Because I'm out of time.
Did anybody actually stay up for this game? Why did it end at 1 a.m?
Young kids sleeping on the couch, or they're begging their parents to stay up.
These games need to end earlier. Hopefully you get a good amount of sleep tonight, unlike what I had last night. So that's been Sports Tonight. Ellie Parker for Emily Gagnon.
Good night,
See ya.
guys.